Travis Kelce, though, during the Super Bowl media time, which is going to be this entire week, basically, he was asked if he could ask a question to the media, and this is what he had to say about, what he thinks about this whole thing with the referees and these penalties.
Why are you guys leaning into this whole ref thing? You know what I mean? Like, why are you guys leaning into it?
So here's my question to you. Have any issue with Kelce's question to the media?
Hey, advantage Eagles by saying something like that. I think that that puts a little imbalance in there now. The referees are going to maybe overcompensate a little bit. Interestingly, a little kid is the one that asked him what question he would have for the media, and that's what he came up with. So I think he made a huge mistake by saying that. I'm sure that the team is not happy that he came out and came up with that. Why would he put that out there? That they obviously sounds like they've been talking about it at the Chiefs, and they're feeling a little upset by it, and maybe they feel like they did get a few breaks here and there, and I sure think they did. I think this question is sparked by. Started with 2 questionable calls in the divisional round with the Texans. The Texans had 82 yards of penalties. Will Anderson being called for a personal foul on Mahomes when it clearly looked like it wasn't one. And then there was unnecessary roughness on Mahomes where he kind of flopped, and here he is flopping there.
Well, that wasn't penalized, but it's just a bad look.
Yeah, that one. But
this is the one you're talking about.
This is the one right here. This one. Look at that. He's down, definitely. The head hit here is with the two of their own players. That wasn't it. You don't have the Anderson one, but that one was that one to me was a bad call as well, and the Chiefs scored a TD on that one. And then we move on and we can really get rolling with in my mind, 4 questionable calls against the Bills, 2 first down calls on the same series where Kincaid, he's got the first down right here. His knee was not down. His elbow was not down. The ball was across the line. And then Josh Allen crossing the line here. He got there, according to the ref that saw the play. The other guy at the top of the field couldn't see Allen beyond the Chiefs players. So that was one, and then there was an unsportsmanlike conduct on one of the Bills players after Travis Kelce instigated it and then flopped. They called, and then the catch by Worthy that touched the ground. They called that a catch. So to me, all of those were problematic. All the chatter led to comments from Roger Goodell's press conference on Monday. He said. And he tried to throw cold water on the notion that there was any ref favoritism toward the Chief. He says, it sort of reminds me a little bit of the script, right? That I write a script and I have a script for the entire seasons, he said. I think a lot of those theories are things that happen in social media. And that's right. We're in social media here. We're on a podcast. We're talking about it because it's meaningful. We saw it. Everybody's seen it. That's why they're talking about it on social media, Roger. And they get a new life. Nobody wants to be wants it to be their theory. I understand it. I think it reflects a lot on the fans' passion. I think it also a reminder of how important officiating is. I think the men and women officiating in the NFL are outstanding. They have the highest possible standards. That's a ridiculous theory for anyone who might take it seriously, but at the end of the day, it's something we always have to continuously work on, how we make our officiating better at all times. And I agree with you 100%, Roger. More technology in the game, huh? And our last when we talked about this before, there's a guy out there, a podcaster, who had the technology that drew a line. He brought a line in that showed that Allen had the ball across the line. Why don't you do something like that? Why don't you bring in some metrics, some ability to draw lines there so you can see exactly whether the ball is across the line or not? I think those would be good ideas, and people want it. I mean, the Bills had gotten that first down. They were driving for a score, a go-ahead score there. That made the game a lot more exciting. And the Bills have a chance to finally knock off the Chiefs. I'm sure they're still thinking about it. The Chiefs were penalized 9 times for 50 yards in that game, in those 2 playoff games. The opponents 14 times for 130 yards. I'd say with Travis Kelce bringing this into the forefront, expect all eyes to be on the officials at the Super Bowl on Sunday.
I mean, in every single Chiefs primetime game, in every single Chiefs game, all eyes are on the officials. And I brought up the stats, and I said that I wasn't a conspiracy theorist entering, I believe it was the AFC Championship games against the Bills, and there was a massive disparity between the penalties called on the Chiefs and the penalties called on the opponents in playoff games since 2021, I believe. And it is a massive disparity. We're talking about over 140 yards just amongst a couple penalties here and there. 140 yards, give or take, of penalties in favor of the Chiefs. But I also have an issue, and I don't think there is a conspiracy. I want to throw this out. I do not think that there's a conspiracy to give the Chiefs every single one of these games, because we talk about that 3rd and 3 and then the 4th and inches, and people rightfully so bring it up. There were 13 minutes left at that point. And during that the final play, right? There was 3:33 left, 2 timeouts, and you had the 3 timeouts, and you had the 2-minute warning, and they couldn't score. That's why I say make a play. Make a play. Josh Allen, identify the blitz. Don't screw it up. Don't call, I blame it on Joe Brady and Sean McDermott. Don't call spread formation when the Chiefs have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. Maybe don't do that. And what's funny is we've seen now in 2 consecutive postseasons where the team playing against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game goes away from what worked the entire season. And I'm going to bring this up again. James Cook took almost as many snaps as Ty Johnson. James Cook was the Bills' offense. He was the X factor on the Bills' offense, and yet it was 33 snaps for James Cook, 30 for Ty Johnson. Also, I've read who exactly it was. I don't know if it was a backup defensive back or a starting defensive back for the Chiefs. They literally said that they game planned for Josh Allen to do a QB sneak to the left every time. What did Josh Allen do? A QB sneak to the left every single time. And the DB even admitted, if he just did something different and go to the right, they wouldn't be prepared for it. What was every single tush push? To the left, to the left, to the left. Switch it up a little bit. They went 3 and 7 on tush pushes, 1 yard or fewer.
Right.
Change something. Last postseason, the Baltimore Ravens were the number 1 running team in the NFL. Their running backs ran it, I think, 6 times.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've talked about Sean McDermott's in-game decision-making.
It's terrible.
Particularly against the Chiefs. He's cost his team. They definitely should have won the game a couple of years ago when there was only 13 seconds left.
Yes.
And they let the Chiefs drive down for
2
a field goal.
2 timeouts, 13 seconds. What do? You play the sidelines. So what do? Simple dink to Travis Kelce in a wide open portion of the field. You dish it off to Tyreek Hill, who could run a 4.2 40 basically. He runs it up for, 20-yard gain? They kick the game-tying field goal, they go to overtime, and they score instantly. I mean, it's bad play calling. It's bad game planning for Sean McDermott. And let's just say, for all intents and purposes, that some calls go the Chiefs' way. Okay, where are you stepping up in key moments? Because what I saw the Bills do, their defense got torched when it mattered most. The offensive line didn't hold up very well for the Buffalo Bills. And when it mattered most, with 3:33 left, with 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, what do? Basically, go 3 and out. I mean, that's what you barely move down the field. Yes, Josh Allen had to make a crazy play, but he didn't identify the blitz very well. The formation you were in at the time didn't make any sense.
The pass was dropped, though.
Yes, because
Kincaid should have caught that.
Dalton Kincaid had to come back and go to the right
a little bit, but he should have caught that ball.
I'm not saying he should have, shouldn't have, but all I'm saying is just from the initial snap, it was 6 Chiefs defenders, and then Trent McDuffie, who's the second-graded pass rusher defensive back in the NFL this season, right on the line of scrimmage, so he's at least a potential threat. So let's just say, obvious pass rushers, there's 6v5, and I broke this down last show, or one of the last shows. It was a 6v5 just from the initial snap. You don't bring a single guy over to help. You don't bring a single guy in motion except for Khalil Shakir to do his out motion that they do normally in man coverage. Josh Allen did not read it well. He even said that he wasn't expecting the Chiefs to do that. I think that falls on Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. That falls on game planning. That falls on Joe Brady and Sean McDermott not putting his quarterback in the position to win football games. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, what did the Chiefs do? I was talking to John about this, my brother. We were all watching the game. Every single team, when it's their ball and they have to get 1 first down to win the game, it's run, try to get the first down, keep the clock going. But the Chiefs always do this. We saw it this season. We saw it even against the Bills. You want to keep the clock moving, and then on the 3rd and whatever, they pass the football. Well, what did they do? On the 3rd and 9, they pass it to Samaje Perine, who I think that was his only snap the entire game. He gets the first down. It's game over. They're just doing the little things very well. Mahomes went from the most explosive offense to being the highest guy in yards after the catch and the lowest average depth of target in the NFL. He dinks and dunks his way to victory for the past 3 seasons.
They're very well coached. Every player knows exactly what their role is, and they execute well.
That's what you need to do to beat them. That's what the Bills just don't do in key moments. They don't execute at a high level. Todd Monken, for some reason, decided to pass the football when Lamar Jackson was just becoming a good passer. He was not a very good passer early in his career. You went away from the running game, even though you were the number 1 running team in the history of Lamar Jackson's career with the Ravens, and you run it 6 times. That is coaching malpractice. That is bad game planning. The Chiefs just do the little things right, and they do it very, very well. The Bills don't do that. In back-to-back AFC Championship games, James Cook ran it 13 times for 85 yards and had 2 touchdowns. Wouldn't you think to feed him the football a little bit more? And also, you're up by 1. It was, 22-21. Drain some clock here. And Josh Allen, open the game with a QB scramble and 2 near picks interceptions. Instead of starting with clock control, ball control, opening up the running game. That's your opening scripted play. Josh Allen scramble, pass. What are the Bills doing? James Cook was
we've talked about the coaching in big games. So I would just hope that the Super Bowl, which we're going to talk about on Friday, is not determined by some crazy calls that have happened during the game. I really hope that doesn't happen. And the Eagles can remember the last Super Bowl, and I don't know if you've got that play. Here it is. Here we go.
Defensive holding on James
Defensive
Bradbury.
holding, right?
It's
right
not
there.
that. No, it's not there. It was the hook. It was the hook.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll replay it here. It's there.
That's a cheap call.
Turning around turning around Juju Smith-Schuster.
That's a cheap
And the announcers even said, in that moment you don't call it. And by the way, that was coming off a Super Bowl where Logan Wilson, the linebacker of the Cincinnati Bengals, had a phantom hold on Cooper Kupp in that game.
Yeah.
That I'm still upset about because it wasn't a hold.
Yeah.
In the key moments, and that's part of this big referee thing when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's why the technology.
It's not the volume. It's when it happens.
Yeah.
That's the massive issue.
Yeah, and the technology needs to improve, and they need some of those very, very key calls that look controversial, maybe an opportunity for a booth review. You know, I really think these games are big now. The NFL is huge now.
Yeah.
It's so much bigger than it's ever been. It's in the minds of everybody. It's so followed. There's so many fans. These games are so big.
Not
they
only
mean
that,
so much.
Money's
they mean
on the line
so
too.
much. There's so much money on the line, right? In terms of all the betting that goes on in these games. You can't have the refs determining games. It's really it takes it away from the players, takes it away from the fans. You got to do it. You got to have more of an opportunity to review some of these plays when it looks like they're obviously mistakes or they're extremely close plays.
Well, the issue with that is we already tried that with the pass interference. And what happened was we as fans could see it. We saw a lot of the times whether it was pass interference or whether it wasn't pass interference. And I'm pretty sure every single challenge that it should have been or it shouldn't have been did not get called correctly. So they couldn't even get the challenges correct. That's where I think if you're spotting the football, create the grid, create the electronic grid, put a sensor in the football. Did the ball actually go over the line to gain? That's where technology could come into play.
Yeah. That's one thing you could do.
But when it comes to penalties, is we could see whether or not it was pass interference. We could see if it was a face mask. But somehow, we already did the pass interference thing, and the refs still screwed it up, even when that was a challengeable thing. So I don't know because when it's human error. It's the human instinct. We're trying to figure it out. Very fast paced game.
Yeah. Well, it's the decision of the ref on the sideline watching that little monitor that they have.
Yeah.
I think they should have the league officials, the ones that are up in the booth, contributing to the decision there on some of those plays.
I can agree with that. I don't think it's a conspiracy per se, but the volume of people saying that maybe it's not all in favor of the Chiefs and they're letting the Chiefs win these Super Bowls, but there's something going on. And
don't you think it was a mistake by Kelce to mention it, to bring it up?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because once again, this is just how it turns out. I'm not saying it's a conspiracy, and I'm not saying the NFL is in favor of the Chiefs. But the data says that something is different when it comes to the Chiefs and the rest of the NFL that plays the Chiefs. The data backs that up. I'm not saying it's for the Chiefs. I'm not saying it's against the Chiefs. My opinion on it is we have to look at each individual game and realize that there's more than just, okay, there's a bad call there, there's a missed call there, there's a bad call there. In the big-time games, again, let's bring up the Bills game. At this point, there was 13 minutes left. Where's the other 16 left in the game? What happened for the Bills? Where are their opportunities? They had a lot of them, but they couldn't capitalize. The Eagles won. Yes, it's unfortunate. Defensive holding. James Bradbury admitted that it was his fault, although I agree in that moment, when it wasn't that egregious,
shouldn't have been called.
It's a bad spot to call. If that happens on a 1st and 10, nobody cares. But the fact that it was the last drive of the game, about a minute left in the game, right down, the Chiefs are driving, and that's the call, when it's not crazy.
Terrible.
I mean, that we've seen much worse holding calls in the NFL than that.
Yeah.
So
it's hardly a hole. I actually don't. Can you show it again?
Sure. It's right there on the breakout.
Yeah, but
he turns it around, not on the other one. I think
he didn't inhibit the guy at all, really.
Right there.
I mean, yeah, but that's not really even a hole.
It's not that. That's not the defensive hold. It's right as Juju starts to break out. Yeah. So it's there that he breaks out.
But he didn't inhibit him at all.
Well, then again, there's the fact, as soon as they see a little bit of a tug, they're going to throw it. Because once again, the Logan Wilson hold
let them
really
play.
Hold. Exactly. Let them play. And that's what hopefully the refs do in this game.
We'll see.
Hopefully. And then that's all fans want. Honestly, if Jalen Hurts gets blown up, but if Mahomes gets blown up too and there's no penalties, nobody cares. The NFL might care because it's their product. But if it gets called evenly, and here's the bad thing. If it doesn't get called through 3.5 quarters, and I believe this happened in a playoff game with the Chiefs, and maybe it was the Chiefs-Bengals, where they were barely calling anything. And the last 5 minutes of the game, penalty. It's like, you didn't call it the entire game. Don't call it in the last 5 minutes. So it's just the consistency of referees that I think a lot of people have a problem with. And obviously there are some out there that just hate the Chiefs. But if we're talking about from a neutral perspective, call it consistently. So not only for Mahomes, who's your golden boy right now, call it for everybody, or don't call it at all. And especially, don't call something that's a 50-50 with a minute left in the game. Because that makes the noise already that's blaring, it takes it times 10. Makes it even louder. And yes, by the way, the NFL played into that script thing. I believe the commercial for this season was about the script. So, and by the way, also the Chiefs are reportedly documenting this season as well. So that just adds to that. Maybe that adds to the conspiracy theory that they're filming this season because of the potential three-peat. So is it just lined up beautifully for the Chiefs? Let the conspiracy theorists run wild with that. Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.